to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So, I don't know if we've had this discussion before about the summer and shoes, but I had to go on a longish walk yesterday, not by design, but because of a poor Google map choice for me.
Oh, no.
And so I was kind of expecting a shorter walk, wore the wrong shoes. My feet are suffering today. But also, I'm like, I can't wear sneakers everywhere. And these were Birkenstocks, and they failed me. So what do you both do in the summer? Like, what is the shoe thing? Because I've almost want to give up and just kind of, I don't know, not go out anymore.
Well, that's one alternative.
Yeah, but like being caught out in shoes that are not intended to walk long distances is awful, because every step you take, you know that you're going to pay for it in pain, like the next day. But I have just resigned myself to having to wear runners all the time, like if I'm walking somewhere, even if in the summer, because I just can't do flat shoes anymore. I need arch support.
I love this. I feel so validated because my feet... Okay, first of all, I have hobbit feet to begin with. They are wide, they are flat, they are small. They are like little gnome feet. And they get flatter as I get older, and they hurt all the time. Okay, Birkenstocks, first of all, I was about to swear. Birkenstocks, those folks are liars. Those are not comfortable shoes. They're not good for you.
For a while, for a little bit, they are. A little bit.
Well, they like try them on in a store, maybe, but that's the end of it. And then my feet are too wide for Birkenstocks, and then I get blisters on my instep.
Oh, I guess that's the problem, because I find the Birkenstocks, like, once you wear them in, they're fine for me.
No, I'm
for
all
good distances.
All sneakers. No.
Oh yeah,
all
not
sneakers
for
all the time.
distances.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like there's been enough fashion and enough celebrities like Leslie Jones and stuff that have like cool sneakers and wear them with dresses and things like that. So that is my goal, is just to make enough money to have like 1,000 pairs of sneakers to go with any outfit and be comfortable. I am absolutely turning into like Whoopi Goldberg. I feel like it's just an age thing that you're like, yeah, no, I'm not wearing uncomfortable footwear. I wore high heels to film something the other day, and I put them on, and I said, how did I ever do this? And I always made fun of women who were like, oh, I couldn't possibly wear heels, because I used to like really, work the femme magic with my high heels and ran around in them and wore them since I was very young. No problem. Well, that's probably why I have all the problems with my hobbit feet now.
I take my shoes to a cobbler sometimes. His name is Mr. Ho. And he was saying that after the pandemic, people had stopped wearing leather shoes, like proper shoes, and like their feet had become completely misshapen, because proper leather shoes, walking in them, give your foot a shape. And like once you kind of stop wearing them, they just kind of go, out of like
proper
misshapen.
leather shoes, as in, like, I guess not a runner, right? Not a sneaker.
Yeah, like loafers or Oxfords or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Because it's got like a bit of a heel that keeps, like it just, I don't know. Like, and he was just saying that like he's coming in hearing everybody complain that they can't wear, proper shoes anymore, and it's because like if you don't, even for a few months, like you have to sort of train your feet in them to get back
months.
to it.
I can't get up to pee in the middle of the night without putting a pair of shoes on. I can't walk. I get up and I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had to. It was one of those things too where I was very lost and walking, and suddenly I noticed luckily a corner store, and it was weird because I thought, I'm never going to go to this corner store again. Like, this is such a weird thought. Like, I don't even know how I found this one. And I went in and I was like looking for Band-Aids, and I was just,
What if
Yes.
you
And
went
I
back
finally got
and it
some
wasn't
Band-Aids
there?
and I sat out there on the stoop putting Band-Aids on my sad feet. And the weird part about this is a little aside, is that where I was looking for the Band-Aids, I found the owner's diary.
What?
I don't know what. It was sitting on the shelf, and they almost took it. It was like, because I sort of
Oh my
peeked
God,
in it,
you
and it
didn't?
said things. No, it was like things that I thought, things that I learned about myself today was one of the chapters, and I read a bit of it, and
You
and
read
then I
it?
thought, oh, just for a second,
Of course she read it. You would,
But in the
right
store?
there in the magic,
store, yes.
the magical
would-
corner store that doesn't
wouldn't be able to
exist
do
on
that.
this in this realm. Really?
I mean, if
Yeah.
I was by myself with the diary, I would be able to read it. But if I was in the store and that person was hovering around somewhere, I wouldn't be able to read it.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I sat down on the floor and read it. I just kind of, it was on this top shelf where, again, I thought the Band-Aids would be, so sort of like around shampoo and razors and stuff. And so I just kind of
why was
pushed
there
the cover
diary
over.
in the store though? Like, isn't that the kind of thing that you keep behind the counter? At least.
I don't know. And then I just thought I'd be kind and I'd bring it back to him because maybe the next customer would not be as kind. And I nearly asked him about his penmanship, which was quite lovely. But I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Penmanship.
I said, I'm sorry. I'm looking for the Band-Aids, but I also found this. And he went, oh, yeah, thank you. That's mine. So,
Wow. I think he wanted you to read it. I think he planted it there.
it had the pen
And what
in
did
it.
you
and
learn about yourself that day?
Well, the chapter or the little section I did read was good advice. It was, that today I learned, he wrote that when things don't go my way, I have to learn to let go.
That's good.
I don't know what was going on in this corner store. That something happened to him in this remote corner store in Burnaby that made him learn that lesson. So I'm also passing along that little bit of wisdom to you as well.
That is good wisdom. I am not going to follow it. I'm going to continue to throw a tantrum when things don't go my way. But it is good advice.
But yeah, now I have 60 Band-Aids because that was the only size of what I could buy. And and my feet are a complete mess. And also I'm very disappointed in Google Maps. So it would, all in all, very disappointing outing, I gotta say.
Yeah. Sounds like a dangerous excursion.
But now I know I'm going to stick with the running shoes in the summer.
Remember in the 90s when we had footwear that was in style and also comfortable? Those were good times, friends.
Well, we're looks like we're heading back there.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. Other than everybody wearing sneakers. I haven't seen it yet. Everything still seems ridiculously uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, I think just get a nice pair of white, kind of basic sneakers, and they pretty much go with anything. But I was going to say, Lisa's struggling with Google Maps is a good segue into what we're talking about today, which is season 3 of one of our favorite shows, Hats. Okay, you're listening to Pop This. I'm Andrea Gin.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
And I'm Morgan Brayton.
Welcome, Morgan, back to the show after your
Thank you for
triumphant,
having me.
your triumphant Prince Purple Rain episode you did with us a few weeks ago. I am still thinking about that. I'm still reeling from that episode with all the childhood memories that you revealed to us, all the pictures that we did end up posting on our website. So if anybody wants to see those, Morgan as her tribute air band, Purple Rain Air Band. They're all there for all to see, and they are glorious.
Love it.
I just
That
want to
was so
also
fun.
mention here that I did read that Maya Rudolph's Prince tribute band is going out on the road.
We are
soon.
so there.
And, yeah, and she's going to be opening for Vampire Weekend and some shows. So just saying, this is happening, folks. This is happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. I'm so there.
All right.
I'm so there. I'm going to wear my outfit from 9th grade.
Oh, I think she would
Around my
appreciate that.
wrist,
Holy
because
cow.
that's where it will fit now. Yeah.
I was going to say, I would not be able to wear anything from 9th grade.
No.
Personally.
Oof. No, gosh.
We'll do our makeup.
Maybe a scrunchie?
And hair.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
So Morgan, you've been on our podcast many times, but let's just read your bio, just in case anyone is fresh to the podcast and is new to you. A standout of Canadian entertainment for more than 35 years, Morgan Brayton has appeared in TV and film, including Hardcore Logo and The L Word, and has worked behind the scenes in various roles, including screenwriter, associate producer, and story editor for both scripted and unscripted series, hosting her own talk show, Morgan Brayton and Other People, on Out TV, and is an award-winning sketch comedian with multiple successful solo shows to her credit. In addition to managing her multi-hyphenate career, these days Morgan can be found enjoying the sunshine on the deck of the Chemainus home she shares with her wife and what some have called too many cats.
Some. Not me.
Some. Yeah, not everyone, though.
No.
One or two people.
No.
Yeah, I think we went into the exact number last time, and we all were a little bit shocked. But that's, you know, that's neither here nor there.
No. We don't need to alarm people.
Now it's
No.
normalized.
There we go.
Yeah,
Seven cats.
exactly. Now everybody's going to have seven cats. Seven cats.
On Pop This, 7 cats is the normal number now.
That's right.
Anything less is a little surprising.
Industry standard, really, some would say.
Aspirational, some would
Right?
say.
Yes.
Lisa, do you want to read the background?
Yeah, sure. Hacks is an American comedy drama television series created by Lucia Aniello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky that premiered on May 13th, 2021 on HBO Max. Starring Jean Smart, Hannah Einbinder, and Carl Clemens Hopkins, the series centers on the professional relationship between a young comedy writer and a legendary stand-up comedian. In May 2024, the series was renewed for a 4th season. The series received critical acclaim and won accolades, including Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Writing, Outstanding Director, and for Smart, Outstanding Lead Actress, as well as the Golden Globe Award for Best Television Series, Musical, or Comedy.
That's a lot of awards, but not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Somebody said to me the other day, "Do you want it to keep going, or don't you want it to end? You know, and just like quit while they're ahead and have it end?" And I was like, "No, I want it to go on forever."
Yeah. I feel that way about this show and Somebody Somewhere.
Yes, agreed.
Oh yes, I love it so much.
Which is also coming back, but I just don't know when, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan, do you have the outline pulled up?
I do not, but I can have it. Okay, here we go. The new season picks up a year after season 2 ends. On the surface, Deborah and Ava are living their dreams. Deborah is on the Time 100 list, making crowds roar with laughter when she's not even trying. Ava is in a serious relationship with actress Ruby and has a coveted writing job on a progressive, critically acclaimed show called On the Contrary. But it quickly becomes clear that neither of them is truly happy. Deborah is restless and unchallenged now that she's at the top. Ava is not as excited about her work as she should be and can't fully be herself around Ruby. Something's missing, and when the two run into each other at a comedy festival, it doesn't take long for them to realize that something is each other.
And that's from Taylor Gates at Collider. But yeah, I thought that was a good synopsis.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. I'm just going to jump right in and say, I love the irony of them being at Just for Laughs. The pinnacle of comedy festivals, the place where everybody in comedy meets that just filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah.
It's a bit of a poignant comment on, because they present it as like the place to be and the place where, magic happens and deals are made. And yeah, absolutely. And, well, now we know a little bit more about it. A little bit more to it. But anyways, yeah. I love this show so much. I feel like I am the perfect demographic for this show, which is not a thing that I can always say as a 53-year-old white lady. But it's like I'm right in between the ages of the two leads, right? So I'm always like, every time Deborah says something, I'm like, yeah, mm-hmm. And then Ava says something, I'm like, oh, she's not wrong. And so I'm like absolutely right in the middle. And I just feel all the feelings of all of the characters, and I'm never like, I think they also do such a good job of never letting you be fully Team Deborah or fully Team Ava. Mm-hmm. You're always kind of flip-flopping back and forth. And I think that's the thing, this show, I kept thinking of the word nuance watching when I rewatched this season. It would be easy to just make it cut and dry. Deborah did this bad thing and Ava's upset, but it's not. It's just never that easy, right? You understand why Deborah does what she does. You understand why Ava messes up the way that she does. So I love the nuance of it, and how, in life, nothing is that simple. There's always three sides to every story. There's influences and factors that change the circumstance. And in this show, we really, really get those nuances. And I think that's one of the reasons for me that it's so poignant and hits home as hard as it does.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It would be totally easy and predictable for them to do like a generational clash, like this millennial versus this boomer have conflicting ideas and conflicting values, and they're always fighting. But it is a lot more nuanced than that, and you can see it even in the episode they did. Like, now we're getting deep into season 3 already, and we just started, but they did about Deborah's old material coming up and her appearance at a university convocation being canceled because there was going to be a protest. Like, that episode would have been really easy to make, the students kind of look like ridiculous characters, or you know what I mean? But they didn't do that. It was like, you kind of could see, you saw where the students were coming from, and you saw like Ava, kind of being this person being like, what's wrong with saying you're embarrassed by it? Like, just admit that you're embarrassed by it. Like, and you regret, like, it's old material. Like, if you say that and you take responsibility for it and you say that you are a different person now, like, that's all you have to do. And this idea that Deborah's just like, I never want to apologize for a joke, and just kind of like digging into this position for a long time, that she does not want to admit that her material was offensive or bad or wrong. And I just thought that they handled that in a really nuanced way, because, in an episode about being canceled, it could have been a really kind of extreme positions on both sides kind of episode.
That said, though, there was the episode where she meets her comedy legends and they're all going to go get colonoscopies, and they're playing poker, and they're making these jokes that she can't feel anymore, and leaves them there because she's so uncomfortable around their, failure to move on or to see things differently. So that, it's interesting that we were talking about earlier before about the balance, that it's not like this or this, it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Deborah take like little baby steps of growth through this like season, but also in the end, we see her just wanting to be fiercely like getting to the top, getting what she wants, and then wanting to be fiercely protective of the status quo because she doesn't want to rock the boat now that she's on top. Like, nothing She doesn't want anything to threaten that. And so, yeah, it is very complicated. And I think it is reflective of like a lot of women who professionally are successful and make it to the top. They're like, you know, their sort of mentality that probably is just been sort of beaten into them as they like work their way to the top. It's just that like, you work hard. I did it. I made it here. I deserve this. And I got to do whatever I have to keep myself in this position. And if that's all I have to care about, I don't have to care about other people because nobody cared about me when I was coming up. And yeah, I think we see that in Deborah's kind of journey. Like, even though Ava's kind of like pecking at her the whole way, saying, what about this? What about this? What about this?
So I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to bring up a show that I was going to use for my recommending at the end of the episode. So I don't know why I didn't watch this. Maybe I was just on a run with comedian dramas, but I had never got around to watching Mae Martin's Feel Good. Have either of you seen that?
I love that show. Yeah,
Yes.
I love it.
You watched it already then. Yeah. And that, interestingly, that is one of the storylines, is that Mae has this opportunity to talk about this comedian that has wronged them and doesn't take it because of all of these reasons we're bringing up now. Why do I do this now? What's going to happen to my career? Is this something that I can do? And it was really fascinating to see it on this show as well.
Yeah, I think it's very much a comedy thing too, right? I mean, I think entertainment industry wise, anyhow, you like when you get some success, you've paid your dues, and now, yeah, anyone coming up after you has to pay your dues. And the whole like never apologize for a joke thing, ugh, like it's that's just intolerable, right? But Deborah even says she blames Ava after the colonoscopy martini party, right? She said, "You got under my skin." And I was defending bisexuals, and it's your fault, because she has started to, you know, she mocks Ava and everything, but it has started to sink in. And she's sitting there with these guys who she says to them when she leaves or when she heads to the bathroom, you know, for comedians, you're pretty out of touch. And I think that all the time. It happens all the time with comedians who, quote unquote, make it, right? And they're like doing something different, something interesting. And then when they make it, they get afraid to continue to do things that are interesting and outside of the box because they want to hold on to this modicum of success that they have. So I very much got that, but I do see that Ava is getting to Deborah. Deborah's learning from Ava. And even, you know, the old material, when she watches it, we see her watching it and we see her face going, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, she doesn't think it's great material anymore either. So I think I really love how they impact each other positively. And I think, I don't know, I have this in my life a lot where I think we have a lot to learn from millennials, as much as we like to make fun of them. You know, millennials are teaching us it's not actually ideal to work 80 hours a week and be on your cell phone so your boss can get a hold of you at all times. And, you know, there's lots of things that I have learned from millennials that I am rethinking and going, oh, I can say no? Interesting, you know? So I really relate to that. And I love that as much as Deborah is teaching Ava, she is, you know, a mentor for her and is the one giving her great opportunities, etc. Deborah doesn't have the success that she has with her special except for Ava. That's why it works. The two of them work together. That is the magic. And so when Deborah decides to act from a place of fear, as Ava accuses her of doing, that's exactly what she's doing. She's trying to hold on to this thing that she's got, even though ironically, the reason that she has it is because of the relationship with Ava.
Yeah. And I believe you have just explained Hacks.
There it is.
Also, I find that, on the theme of kind of people of different generations learning from each other, the Kayla and Jimmy relationship between those two characters this season really flourished for me. Like, I love that, like in the first couple seasons, Kayla was kind of a joke character. But in this season, especially like in the final episode, we see that she is teaching Jimmy stuff, and like he finally accepts it and takes the lessons that like what seems to be like more of just like Kayla's wackiness throughout this series. Like we find out I don't take an accounting of it until the end when they have a big rom-com ending on a plane, which I thought was the most amazing scene. And, like he's so saying, funny. Like, it's because of you that, this happened and this happened and this happened. And like, you actually are a good manager. Like, you're not a good assistant. You're a good manager because you think outside the box. And like, I thought that was another incredible moment of accountability. Like, to me, I like Jimmy is a pretty incredible character in that, like he's kind of like holding everything together, but he's also funny, but he really cares about Kayla. Like Kayla drives him crazy, but he really cares about her at the same time. And I don't know, like I find him to be like, they're not, like they are secondary characters, obviously, to the main two, but like they are so rich, both of them, and so nuanced. And I actually like really loved following their storyline through this series.
Can I offer another opinion on that, the Kayla Jimmy?
Yeah.
So I was not like, yes, I must, because the whole time I've been watching it, I've not, like, I understand characters have to grow and progression and things, but there was something about who they were at the beginning of the series that to me represented what it is like to work in this toxic business. That essentially they're both ill-equipped to do this. They're Nepo babies in their own way. And so it felt to me like honest and true, like that this happens. And I feel like now that the writers got together, and I recognize it's mostly to do with the fact that we're moving into 3 or 4 seasons now, but you have to do something with these characters. You just can't keep them the same way. Any show I've watched, right? Like even watching anything like The Office, I'm kind of happy the British Office ended because I didn't have to ever like Dwight or whoever their equivalent was. I can't remember his name. Anyway, and then they had to progress with all of these characters and give them, and I don't know, I just felt like someone said, yeah, you know what, Nepo babies, they're not so bad. They can do stuff, they've been paying attention. So, and then I don't know, it felt like now they've become this sort of weird, Justice League, superheroes with assistants, and it's the 6 of them, and we're in this together. And I don't know, I'm not feeling the same way about what the show was also saying about the comedy world, as now it seems to have moved into a more cozy comedy, like a Parks and Rec or something.
Oh, but
that was my 2 cents.
Lisa, darling, you know it's not going to go well. We have had so many hints that things are about to go off the rails in season 4. So I think you will be satisfied. I don't know anything about season 4. I am just predicting that things are going to go wildly off the rails and you're going to be so happy. Okay, if I may offer, we're just going to talk about Kayla and Jimmy this entire episode because I cried over Kayla in this season. Mm-hmm. Now, I think all great art allows the viewer, the reader, the listener, whatever it is, to bring themselves to the work and interpret the work thusly. That is, we all do, right? We all look at things and take from it what we need to get from it, right? So I may be projecting as someone who a week ago was officially diagnosed with ADHD, but that's Kayla. Kayla is like the poster child for ADHD, and Jimmy nails it. He says to her, like, when he, realizes what's happened. First of all, she stands up for herself, right? And she says, like, yeah, I'm trying, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and you don't even care what I think or how I feel. And then when he realizes it, he says to her, as you said, you're not an assistant, you're a manager. And I relate to that so strongly. And he says, like, wait, I gotta find the line, but he says something about executive functioning. Oh yeah, you think outside the box, and inside that box are things like scheduling and getting lunch orders right, and that things that require executive functioning skills. She doesn't have that, but the flip side of ADHD is creativity and, as he said, thinking outside the box and innovation, right? And so Kayla, to me, just represents so many women who have different ways of doing things, because she's the one who made it happen. She figured out how to get, Mr. Handsome Pants out of the late night seat. She figured out pickleball. Like, Kayla's the hero of this season in my mind, again, projecting, sure. But, she really is. And so for Jimmy to acknowledge it and see her for who she is and what she brings, and to say, you know what? Yeah, you are wasted getting my lunch order. That's not where you can shine. You can shine because you're creative, and she is a Nepo baby. She knows this business, and she knows what it takes to make stuff happen, and she does it. So 3 cheers for Kayla.
And I will say this here, and I can't believe on this podcast I'm going to be the one defending Nepo babies, because that's usually Lisa's job. But they are Nepo babies that actually are trying to have a career and go to work. Like, they're not models or whatever, or funded, like they're trying to not be, they're trying to be people who are funded by themselves, not their families. So I think we have to give them some credit for that.
Do we? You see, here's where I'm like, back to our lessons we've learned from millennials, which one of the lessons I learned was a coworker said that he asked his girlfriend's young sister, what's your dream job? And she said, I don't dream of labor. And I find that was an epiphany for me. It was huge. And I really, really worked that over. And I heard that a couple of years ago. And so for me, what I'm thinking is that a large part of this whole having to struggle in jobs, where did that come from? Why are we doing that? And secondly, there are no stakes for Kayla. 0 stakes. She's going to be fine. Whether or not she figures out executive functioning or anything, it doesn't matter, because she is the child of a multimillionaire. She will always be taken care of. So to me, it doesn't have the same sense of gravitas as seeing someone like Ava, who really, the stakes are that she has nothing to fall back on.
Okay.
Like,
unfair.
she will be living in a car.
No, unfair.
Okay.
Despite the fact that you have used one of my favorite words, gravitas, which I will give you full points for, I could not disagree more, because, yeah, okay, sure, yes. Money-wise, she's fine. She's going to be fine. She's never going to want for money. But that is the thinking of, I don't dream of labor, right? I had a similar experience with an elder who told me a while ago, like, nobody wants to work anymore. And I was like, no, nobody wants to work for no money, 80 hours a week for nothing, right? That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Like, we're starting to wake up and change our mind about how we want to live our lives, right? So I think that Kayla, there are stakes for her, because she isn't anybody except for a Nepo baby, except for the wacky, girl. And we find out in the episode where we meet her school friend, former Disney princess, who they're maybe going to take on as a client, she's awful to her. So, like, just so mean. She's such a bully. And we go, oh, we start to see a little bit of Kayla's backstory, where she isn't just always the happy-go-lucky, wacky girl. But if I may, she has some gravitas, because she has this hurt in her backstory, and her parents go off to Aspen and forget to text her or whatever that bit was, like she has, I think there's a lot of sadness in Kayla. So, but there's also it's a recurring theme in this show. And I really noticed it this episode that there are a lot of lines where people say things about, I'm trying to be a good person, or you're trying, and I see that. Like, there's a lot about this sort of theme of striving to be better and striving to do something important. So I think all of the characters, at least the characters that are not static, like the three old guys playing poker and, drinking laxatives, everybody who is somebody that we care about and are rooting for, are really trying to not just have success, but to grow and be better people. And that, to me, is the whole relationship between Kayla and Jimmy. And Jimmy's trying to prove himself to that, because his father he's Jimmy Jr., right? And Kayla is a Nepo baby, and Ava's, everybody has their thing, but they're all trying to be good people and striving to do something more important.
And I think that, Kayla, first of all, Jimmy left his father's old firm. He quit. And then Kayla quit with him. Kayla didn't have to leave her father's firm, where she had a cushy job that was and would be protected forever. She walks away from that and goes out on her own. And I don't know. I just feel like there's a real difference between how they're depicting the character of DJ, say, and her aspirations for what she wants to do. And then, how Kayla has this different trajectory where she's trying to forge her own path. And I don't know. I think she's not the typical...
DJ is too. I mean, the roast of Deborah Vance.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she finally, yeah.
And the being pregnant and still with her husband.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty big things. And I know, and Deborah being with her sister, inviting her for Christmas, and I recognize things, but I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to depart on both of your affections for the Kayla Jimmy storyline.
I'll allow it.
I don't get it.
You don't get
I have read that there are a lot of people who are not into the Kayla Jimmy characters, but I love them.
I mean, I love the fact that he's Marlena's, because I did watch Days of Our Lives, and that when he brought it up, said that was his mom, I was kind of like, oh, do we get to see her? And then when we did, my mind was blown. I'm so excited. And now, is that really? Or did they just throw that in? I didn't check and see that.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Paul W. Downs, who plays Jimmy, is one of the creators and writers of the series, and that's not his real mom.
Not really his mom. Oh,
yeah.
But that's so
But
good.
what a delightful choice.
For any Days of Our Lives fan,
yeah,
that is just so casting. Out there, it's just, yeah, it's absolutely perfect. So, I mean, I want to say the standout episode for me that I watched was the golf trip. I just thought that was such an amazing bit of writing, and watching somebody at work that way was wild. And I just, the whole grossness of the golf trip. I had a friend who lived in LA, and a couple of years ago I went to stay with her, and she had a friend who was a comedian. And my friend liked to golf, and he came with us. And we were like, well, why are you coming? And he said, I've been hired to go play golf it was some company, and they wanted him there to tell jokes while they were playing.
Wow.
I mean, and we were grilling him. He would not tell us the company, but it definitely had a Evil Empire kind of feel to it. But he would just be paired up, or not paired up, so part of a foursome, and he would keep the jokes going while they were playing, and that he got paid for.
Nice work if you can get it.
You know?
No, this episode is just absolutely outstanding on so many levels. I can't believe we've got this far into the podcast without talking about Christina Hendricks. Holy guacamole.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
So
the little
hot.
cameos
So
on this show
hot.
are so fun. So
right?
Yeah.
And I love that. It feels like the creators are, I don't mean like hiring their friends. I just mean casting people that they adore, that they want, that they think are, brilliant and funny and want to work with, and they put them in like Lauren Weedman as the mayor, who just keeps appearing randomly, and like she's so ridiculous, and all the cameos are so great. And I just like, what a gift to have a show where you can just cast brilliant, hilarious people and be around them all day. That is my idea of absolute heaven. But Christina Hendricks in this episode is out of this world. I don't know how Hannah Einbinder got through that scene with her when they're making out and stuff, because I literally would have passed out. They would have to revive me to do a second take. Yeah. I love this episode for, oh my God, when Ava walks out with that caddy vest on backwards and is strutting across the green. It is so good. And I, of course, you may be shocked to hear, I'm not a golfer, so did not know that was on backwards. But when the other caddies tell her, your vest is on backwards, and she's like, oh no, I like to wear it this way. Balenciaga, that she's using this caddy vest as some sort of like status symbol, right? And I love the line where she says to them, they're kind of saying, one of them says, you don't actually carry the clubs, you put them on the golf cart and you drive the golf cart. And she's like, oh, so the golf cart is doing the caddying and we're just doing theater. Okay, got it. I just I love it. I loved it. But there's so much stuff around class, because as Ruby said, who I don't care for, and we can get into that in a second, but as Ruby says to Ava, you're always going to be working for Deborah, right? Like, she's always going to treat her like garbage because she's always going to be her employee, no matter how much I believe she really truly loves her. And I love their like almost schoolgirly friendship in after they meet at Just for Laughs, and then they're like texting each other all the time, and like it's just so cute and schoolgirly. But ultimately, Ava is there trying to be a friend to Deborah, and Deborah treats her like a caddy, right? Like the part where she drives away and Ava's like, Deborah, I'm not in yet. Like, it's so cute. But, so there's that class dynamic between them. There's the stuff with the gay Republican. There's, like all these class dynamics that are at play that I just find super fascinating. And ultimately, like I said, there is this flip-flopping between like, what is this relationship? Are we friends? Are we creative collaborators? Or do I just work for you?
Yeah.
Well, we sort of get more on that on the final episode, and sort of like the note that this season is left on is quite tense. But yeah, there's like a huge power dynamic swing towards in the very last episode of the season. What did you both think of that? Did you see that coming at all?
I haven't got there, but I did read about what happens. But I want to think that, yes, I that makes sense, and that's what should happen. Yes.
So there's a scene with when Deborah goes to see Biff Cliff, who was the producer of the late night show that she almost had back in the day. And, he tells her, like, she's like, I just keep thinking I should have been undeniable. And then I would have had the show. And he's like, you were undeniable. It's not about that. It's just, yes. And he says that she's hardworking, which echoes Ava's boss On the Contrary, telling her she's the hardest working person in the office, right? That we get all this stuff that's set up telling us Deborah and Ava are the same person. And we've had, notes of that before, even from Deborah. She says, you're just like me. You're selfish like me, And so there's this thing that Biff Cliff or Cliff Biff or whatever says to her, that you just have to hope that something doesn't happen to give them a reason to say no or for it all to go away or whatever. And so as soon as that, my wife and I were both like, oh no, what's going to happen? And so it's got to come back on us. The woman filming Kayla and Jimmy on the plane, when he says, you were the one that got Jack Danby out of the way or whatever his name is. You were the one that did this. Like, that's all going to be up on the internet. So I think things are going to go crazy there. But we were like, there's something's going to happen to mess with this.
So here's another thought, that perhaps we haven't been watching character development and more character revealing. That it isn't so much that maybe this business is toxic and changes people. Maybe they are already these kind of awful people, and this profession is where they could go. And I say that because I think my favorite comedy show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. No character growth, nothing, ever. These are people who know who they are. They never change. We just watch interesting situations where they get to reveal more about who they are. And I don't know. Like I know they're two completely different shows and they have nothing in common, but they are about comedians. They are about the industry, about people in the industry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really apples and oranges. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it makes me laugh really, really hard behind my hand. That kind of like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm laughing at this, but I cannot stop. But I don't care about those people. I care about these characters. I'm like, oh no, what's Marcus gonna do? Like I genuinely am invested in these characters in a way that I'm not invested in the characters on Curb. So I don't know. I mean, aren't we all just awful people trying to get better?
Yes, I would agree with you. Boy, we've never projected so much of our own psychological issues onto
we're really
a show.
Going deep. We're really going deep. This is like
therapy session here. For
I know.
All
I was just going to say. Yeah. Do you guys take insurance? Is my extended health going to cover this?
It's on the house. This one.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so what do we think of this season of Hacks? Do we have any complaints about this? Like, Lisa, obviously you had some complaints. Morgan, do you have any complaints about this season?
I mean, I don't know if it's a complaint, but I can't figure out if it's a complaint or if it's exactly what the creators want me to feel. Like, I never liked the Ruby-Ava relationship all along for this season. I wasn't buying it. I didn't like her. I didn't think they were a good fit, even though, Ruby dropped some truth bombs and was always like letting Ava know, this woman is terrible to you and that's not going to change. But I didn't like that relationship. I wasn't buying it. God, I think that's about it. I love all of the characters. I love the storylines. I love the outfits. I love the snow in Las Vegas, like everything about it.
The six-sided
that's probably
crystal.
My only complaint. Yes.
So hard to find six-sided crystals for those machines. So you think it can easily sustain another season? You don't have any concerns about, like having some shows should, go out on top or whatever. Like, do you feel like they're going to come back strong in season 4?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of leaving the party early, leaving wanting more, not on my own work because I tend to overwrite and make everything way too long. You've been to the lady show, but I do appreciate it in others. I love British television that's like 6 episodes. That's all we're doing. Walking away. I love that. But I feel like this is a show that, as we say in the industry, it has legs, that it can, this can run, because I do think that the characters are evolving and learning. Deborah learned that dyslexia is a disability. She did not know that, as she says. So, everybody's growing and evolving, but it's still set in this industry that is a garbage fire with a bunch of garbage people. And these things that we want, Deborah's still trying to attain that thing that she wanted 30 years ago, right? So I still think that there are stakes for all of them. I still think there's stuff to explore. I think the age stuff is being explored so much. I've said it before, I think when we talked about season 1, I love how queer this show is and all of the, what that queerness brings to the show. It is definitely not one that I am ready to have put to bed. I hope, who knows, when we see season 4, I might be like, okay, we're good. Let's shut her down. But I think I just want it to go on forever and ever until Jean Smart doesn't want to do it anymore, because she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love Jean Smart. I want to see her on TV forever.
Absolutely. She's just so good. And, she brings that like a history with her that is so evident. And I love that the filmmakers trust that, there's all kinds of scenes where we just hold on a character and watch what's happening with them emotionally. When Deborah, tells Ava she's not going to be the head writer anymore, they hold on her face forever, and we just watch her like absolutely crumble in front of us. The scene in the shot in the golf cart when they find out that Buddy is getting it and she's not, it's almost a minute long and there's no dialogue. We're just watching Deborah try to keep it together, Ava not knowing what to say, and there's this beautiful thing where like you see her like, I feel like she wants to put her arm around her, but she knows that's not, or she might lose her arm. And we just hold. It's silence. There's no dialogue. We're just watching these women's faces and you can't look away. So I think they really trust their performers and get the best out of them and show us the best through that.
So do we think this season pops, Lisa?
Oh, yes, of course. It's still, I mean, those are my small things. I enjoy watching it. I love being in this world. I love Jean Smart. Yeah, I was just going to say, I felt like I was watching out for her more after that season 2 of Fargo, if anyone saw that, where she was the matriarch of this gang, of this evil family. And at the Emmy season, I was like, I don't know what you guys did wrong, but that woman should have been winning something because that was amazing. So I'm just thrilled that there was some kind of momentum and someone noticed it, and we get to see so much of Jean Smart. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, for me, the strongest season so far of Hacks, because I feel like there were plenty of jokes in seasons 1 and seasons 2. I love them so much, but like this one, I just feel like like Morgan was saying, like I deeply care about these characters now, like many of them on the show, and I want to see what happens to them. And I feel like they're going to come back with a really, really great season 4, and the show has a lot of legs left in it. And I think that Jean Smart and Hannah Einbinder are going to win all the Emmys for especially that scene between them where Deborah tells Ava she isn't going to be the head writer. That scene is incredible. It's incredible. And it's been amazing to see Hannah Einbinder. It's like, this is the first show I've ever seen her in. And like, she's grown so much from season 1 as a performer. And to just pull off a scene like this in season 3, like, incredible. But yeah, season 3 was amazing. I loved it so much. Definitely pops.
I definitely agree that it pops. I feel like, sorry, I always gotta look stuff up. I don't think, oh no, she did have some credits before this, because I remember looking her up when the show first came out, because I was like, who the heck is this? And she had basically no credit. She had like some voiceover stuff. She played a waitress. She was in a couple of shorts. Like, she really didn't have credits. Talk about, I don't think you can be considered a Nepo baby if you are a child of original SNL cast member, but maybe. But yeah, no, she did feel like she came out of nowhere. And say it with me, Lisa, she's got gravitas.
Oh, no, I have no slight. Yeah, I agree.
No, my wife hates it because I overuse that word. So when you used it, I was delighted. Yeah, I think, she has to get the show, right? Like, that's what all of this has been leading to. So she has to get the show, and she's got the show now, but she's 100% going to lose the show. Right? Something is going to happen this show is definitely at risk. We are not like, oh, great, we get to see just everything be wonderful in season 4. Oh, well, we don't. But she has to actually achieve getting the show. So, and I'll wait if that's season 10. I will wait.
Maybe season 5 will be just the Fatty Arbuckle story. Who knows? Like, they might do something meta.
Can we talk? Okay. Well, can we just do like 3 episodes every time I come on? Because I can't stop talking. Christopher Lloyd as the descendant of Fatty Arbuckle. Oh my God. And what a perfect choice of people, because, Fatty Arbuckle is rumored to like kill the woman and stuff. So.
But yes, yeah.
Who knows? That whole thing was real sketch. So,
it was bad.
Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't a good situation, even if she hadn't died. But yeah, so real problematic. So the fact that they chose that Hollywood character to represent that, and he, oh my God, like Christopher Lloyd, what a comedic genius! Like, just delightful.
Well, and I read in. The writers were saying that they could have done a complete other spin-off with the Laurie Metcalf character, who is the tour bus driver. Oh. Yeah, she could have her own total spin-off.
Oh, I forgot. Yes. Oh, well, anything Laurie Metcalf does. Anyway, that's a whole... we could do a whole
That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole
the
other
Laurie
thing,
Metcalf episode. Absolutely. I'm in.
So we like to leave our episodes with things we recommend. Lisa, do you want to go first? Oh, no, you have gone.
I did. I mentioned the Netflix series Feel Good with Mae Martin. I don't know why I waited so long to watch it. I had some time. And now, to me, there's a perfect example. I know with the series that it was made in the UK because it's set in London, even though Mae is a Canadian Toronto comedian. The BBC 4 or something did not pick it up for a second season, and then Netflix did. So there are only 2 seasons of the show, and I think there's only 6 episodes, 6 or 7 per season. I think that was perfect. I think trying to keep that going. So that's my only caution. I will stay with Hacks, but I have to say that the story that Mae wanted to tell and how they wanted to tell it, 2 seasons was just perfect.
Yeah, that's because Mae is like, what, in their 30s? And the Deborah character is like 70. So there's more story to tell.
Okay, fair. All right. Yeah, okay.
I want to tell you, because I think you will appreciate this. I know Mae. I wouldn't, we're not best friends or anything, but I do know Mae. I've known Mae since they were like 17, and I brought them out to perform in a comedy show in Vancouver. And during the pandemic, do y'all remember that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you have a pandemic too? Okay. During the pandemic, I was actually teaching a sketch comedy writing course that I used to teach at a film school. And it was all on Zoom, which was a nightmare. And I felt like, these students have been through so much already, attending their entire year of film school online. I wanted to, I was like, wow, what can we do that would be cool? So I contacted some folks that I knew who came and were guest speakers on Zoom from my class. So, a comedian from Toronto, Anne Pornell, who I didn't know, but I just reached out to Anne Pornell, host of the Great Canadian Baking Show. I just reached out on Instagram and was like, I adore you. I'm teaching this class. Would you come and talk to my students? And she was like, absolutely. And then I reached out to May and said, would you come and talk to my class? So during the pandemic, May Martin came on Zoom to my class. And, this was before everything really blew up for them. And we're just so lovely. I would say both May and Anne were absolutely, I am totally blanking on the guy's name. That's why I'm not mentioning him. He was lovely too, but I am just having a brain blank. But May and Anne were so awesome, so encouraging, so direct and clear and amazing to these students. And everybody just, absolutely adored them. And I just think of that every time I see them. I'm just like, it's that thing where you actually know somebody is a good person and you're so happy for them compared with all the absolute garbage humans that I know that are wildly successful, and I resent the hell out of them for it. Not to mention any names, but May is not one of those people. And I could not be happier for them. And they have a new show that is just about to start filming. So you'll have another something to replace Feel Good with. Yeah,
excellent.
That's great.
Good.
And I'm glad to hear they're a good person because...
Yeah, me too.
It's always nice because sometimes you really love somebody in a show and then somebody tells you that they're not great in real life, and it's always so crushing.
I know. I just had that happen recently, and it's so upsetting.
Oh. Was it Andrea Gin? No,
yes, it was. I'm sorry. I was trying to find a way to bring it up.
It's okay. I get that all the time.
You finally met her in person, and it was a nightmare. Oh my God.
Seems so nice virtually.
On the podcast, right? I know.
So Morgan, what do you want to recommend?
Okay. My recommendation, and I'm recommending it, I've just saw that it only has 3 out of 5 stars on IMDb, which doesn't make sense to me, but maybe the second half isn't good. I've only watched the first part of it because I started watching it last night and I loved it so much that I'm going to recommend it. It's called Outstanding, A Comedy Revolution, and it's on Netflix. It's a documentary type jobby. It's exploration of the history of LGBTQ plus stand-up comedy and its importance as an instrument for social change over the past 5 decades. Queer comics challenge the status quo and never deny an audience the power of laughter. So you got your Tig Notaro, you got your Lily Tomlin, you got your Eddie Izzard, you got your Wanda Sykes, you got your Mae Martin, speaking of, Joel Kim Booster, Leah Delaria, Fortune Feimster, Sandra Bernhardt, Billy Eichner. It's just got so many people that we know and love, but it also has a ton of stuff that I didn't know. And as you may have picked up on, I'm a bit of a comedy nerd. And, as a queer comedian, I'm always ranting at queers to know their history. And so finding stuff that I did not know in this documentary was like, whoa, very cool. So I think it's a really, really important, but also fascinating look at the history of queer comedy. Some stuff that I didn't know about shows that, short-lived, to be fair, granted, but short-lived shows that happened, in the 70s that I was like, wow, that's very progressive for the time. And there's a scene with Richard Pryor doing what was billed as a human rights it's a show to benefit human rights, and really was not human rights, period, but gay rights. And he came out and blasts the audience after making them laugh for a bit. He's like, yeah, when when my people were like being attacked in the streets, where were you? Human rights, and I was like, holy, good for you. He's like, I'm looking at this audience and it's all white. And where were you when our human rights were at risk? So I think it's so like stuff that we're still absolutely dealing with today. And it's really important to know our history, whether it's our queer history or our cultural history. And so Outstanding, A Comedy Revolution is great film to watch.
Awesome.
Amazing.
That sounds
I'll
great.
watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to recommend some music. The Softies. I don't know if you two know the Softies. Rose Melberg and Jen Sprague.
Mm-hmm.
They are like indie pop balladeers, like indie pop royalty, basically. They just released a new song called I Said What I Said, and it's so beautiful. Lovely song. And I'm obsessed with it. And I've played it like a bunch of times already. They have a new album coming out on August 23rd called The Bed I Made. It's their first album in 24 years.
Wow.
And I am so thrilled
Amazing.
that they are back, and they're going to be playing a bunch of live shows. So look out for them. I'm definitely going to be at the one in Vancouver. But yeah, I'm just really happy to have new Softies music. I love them.
Fantastic. Amazing.
And it was announced in Rolling Stone yesterday. It was so exciting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't see it.
It's Justin Timberlake getting arrested for DUI, followed by Rose and Jen and their new album.
Amazing.
Fitting.
Yeah. It's a beautiful album, and I will be coming back to Vancouver for the 23rd as well. Rose is one of my besties, and I am so proud of them both for this beautiful, beautiful album, knowing the process behind it and what it took for them to actually get this album out. I just could not be more thrilled for them and thrilled for everyone to hear it. And I think everyone is going to love it just as much as Andrea does.
Yay. Okay, well, thank you for listening, everyone. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on any of the social medias.
If you find us there, yeah. I mean, I kind of neglect mine. But thank you all. And thank you, as always, to Andrea Gin, who is our co-host here and a producer of this little gem, and also a very good music fan. Holy. I just looked it up, and it was the Pitchfork had it 2 days ago as well. So amazing. Amazing.
Nice. And thank you, Morgan, for joining us again. And that was an amazing, it's always great to hear your insights into the comedy world. And so I love talking about hacks with you.
It was perfect. Perfect fit.
Thank you so much. I could talk about this show all day. I think I just did. So thank you so much for having me. I love this show and I love coming on and talking to you lovelies. So.
Uh-oh. Aww. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.